A zombie-themed nativity scene in Sycamore Township near Cincinnati, Ohio, is on display for the last time. Owner Jason Dixon told the Cincinnati Enquirer he hadn't planned to put the display up again, but that he gave in after receiving hundreds of emails from fans. He said the zombies have a, quote, cult following. Zombie Mary, Jesus, and the Wise Men got mixed reactions when they debuted 4 years ago. Town officials fined Dixon in previous years for violating zoning rules, but his lawyer argued the town was suppressing his freedoms, and the case was later dropped. Another nativity scene gone rogue this season is one dubbed the Hipster Nativity, and it's trending on social media. It depicts Joseph with a man bun taking a selfie with Mary and Jesus, watched over by wise men on Segways holding Amazon packages.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas here in London's busiest shopping district, and many are getting swept up in the holiday spirit. Others are escaping underground to relieve some stress.
Welcome to Rudolph's Rage Room.
They're donning Christmas-themed jumpsuits
So pick a tree
and taking out their aggression. Billy and Claire channeled their anger with the help of their most hated Christmas song.
I feel very de-stressed and deraged now.
Feeling any better about Christmas or not, Billy?
Nah, it sucks.
People pay $25 to vent their frustrations. They get a baseball bat and 3 minutes inside this rage room, and everyone is here for different reasons.
A creative events group came up with the idea to help people relax.
Everybody's loved it universally, whether they hate Christmas or they love Christmas.
For Pierce and Odette, it was the perfect holiday treat.
I feel better.
I just imagine everyone I hate from last Christmas that didn't get me anything, and then showed them how it was.
The event ran for just a day, long enough for people to get that rage against the Christmas machine out of their systems.
For years, the village of Elmore, Ohio, has put out a traditional faith-based nativity scene for the holidays. Town councilmen we spoke to don't know who outed them, but somebody told the proudly atheist Freedom From Religion Foundation about this little nativity scene. And the next thing the town knew, it was threatened with a lawsuit. The foundation said placing a nativity scene in a public park violated separation of church and state. Now, rather than fight it in court because the village said they couldn't afford it, they moved the scene to a private yard across from the park. So does the nativity scene amount to a government endorsement of religion, or is it a community tradition that's more secular than religious?
A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to allow 2 pregnant teens staying in a Health and Human Services shelter to get abortions. The unaccompanied minors were detained while entering the country. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan ruled the administration can't keep the 17-year-olds from their, quote, right to an abortion. The Trump administration changed an Obama-era policy that allowed pregnant minors detained while entering the country to end their pregnancies. An HHS official said the agency's facilities, quote, should not be supporting abortion services, but giving life-affirming options counseling.
Mexico will close out 2017 as its most violent year on record. Faced with a staggering murder rate, Mexican lawmakers are pushing for a new and what's become a controversial national security law, one that would normalize a military presence across the country. Senator Enrique Burgos says this action, however drastic, is desperately needed to curb back the violence.
El primer compromiso del Estado mexicano is that
the number one commitment of the Mexican government is to guarantee security to the population and maintain their personal safety. And this is what we intend to do through interior security law.
Other Mexican lawmakers, like Senator Juan Carlos Romero Hicks, don't agree with this assessment.
Because it goes against human rights, it does not give legal certainty, and also there are many issues from civil society that are not being resolved.
One such issue is a general lack of confidence in state and federal police forces. The proposed legislation could result in less funding and less training for local law enforcement. However, the bill has faced widespread criticisms in Mexico. Yolanda Moran is one of those voices. Her son went missing 8 years ago. 6 members of the military were eventually charged in connection with his disappearance.
We're still afraid. The people are still afraid. There are still kidnappings by the military. We don't feel safer because of them. Militarization would pose a danger to the population.
Over the years, Mexican military forces have been implicated in a number of murders and disappearances. Last year, mounting allegations of human rights violations prompted the head of Mexico's armed forces to publicly apologize.
Most lawmakers in Mexico will agree that rising levels of violence must be met with new policies. But critics say the current proposal normalizes a military presence on city streets instead of assessing the impact of more than 10 years of failed security strategy.
An update now on reports the Obama administration blocked a drug enforcement agency investigation into Hezbollah's international criminal network. Now a congressman is calling for an investigation. North Carolina Republican Representative Robert Pittenger is urging the House Oversight Committee to look into the claims. He says it's no wonder President Obama did not label Hezbollah radical Islamic terrorists. Earlier this week, Politico reported that after an extensive investigation by the DEA into Hezbollah's international drug trafficking and money laundering, the Obama administration put up roadblocks in order to appease Iran as they work to strike a nuclear deal.
It was a dramatic fall from grace for the highest-ranking Catholic official in the United States. Cardinal Law, once favored by the late Pope John Paul II, was forced to resign after it was revealed that he had failed to remove priests from his ministry who had been accused of abusing children. The former archbishop's silence over child molesters in the priesthood sparked the worst crisis in American Catholicism. News of his death provoked more anger in Massachusetts, where he was the Archbishop of Boston.
Good riddance to bad rubbish. I hope the gates of hell are swinging wide to allow him entrance.
I am a mother of 3 children that have been sexually abused by a priest. Cardinal Law hid everything under the carpet. He would not admit anything. He would not meet with us.
The abuse in Boston extended over 6 decades, involving over 230 priests and more than 750 victims. The Harvard-educated Law was implicated in the scandal after a Boston Globe newspaper investigation was published in 2002.
Please know that as long as I am in a position to do so, I will work tirelessly to address this crisis and to underscore its severity. This is a wake-up call for the Church.
The paper used court documents revealing the cardinal had moved priests who had abused children from parish to parish without alerting police or parents.
Indict Law now! Throw the bum in jail!
His actions led to public uproar and mass protests before his resignation at the end of the year. The newspaper's investigation was then made into an Oscar-winning movie in 2015.
The Boston priest molested kids in 6 different parishes over the last 30 years. The church found out about it and did nothing. We haven't committed any long-term investigative resources to the case.
Despite his involvement in the clergy's sex abuse scandal, the Vatican continued to support Cardinal Law and offered him a position in Rome. Within the church, he focused on building Catholic-Jewish relations and acting as an unofficial envoy to Cuba. Cardinal Bernard Law died in Rome. He was 86 years old.
The United Nations Security Council will vote on a resolution that could essentially reverse President Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. According to a Reuters report, the resolution is only a draft, and although it does not specifically name Trump or the U.S. in the text, it does imply that any decisions to change the status of Jerusalem will have no effect. The resolution needs 9 votes to pass. It cannot be vetoed by the U.S., France, Britain, or China.